I've been relaxing this morning. I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been winding down after working all night and going for my exercises and going to the grocery store and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And I've been pulling on drams of 90 Canadian rye whiskey. But I've been enjoying this one here, for example, for quite some time. The Forty Creek Barrel Select from Forty Creek. It says here Forty Creek whiskies have been inspired by a passion to create whiskies that rekindle the heritage of Canadian craftsmanship and quality. John Hall, who I met at the Whiskey Fest last January, master distiller and first generation whiskey maker, has surpassed his quest to handcraft a truly unique whiskey for you to enjoy and savor. Forty Creek Barrel Select is distilled in small batches in our traditional copper pot still and patiently aged in white oak barrels, hand-picked for their unique characteristics. A careful selection of light, medium, and heavy char barrels create a richness that toasted earthiness in the spirit. Vintage sherry casks are chosen to impart a subtle complexity to the whiskey. This unique barrel selection process results in whiskey where aromas of heavy vanilla and apricot fuse with toasty oak, black walnut, and spice. The flavor is rich and bold on the palate and is completed in a smooth, long finish. We invite you to tour our distillery and taste our fine whiskeys. Please call us, and there's a phone number. Now, it'd be a bit of a travel to go to the distillery because it's almost all the way the other end of the country, but I have met John Hall at the Whiskey Festival, and he's quite a nice guy, and he makes really fine whiskey. He was a winemaker in the past, and what he does is he ferments and distills each kind of grain separately. So if there's corn in whiskey, he'll take the corn, ferment it, distill it from the mash, and condense it and age it in a barrel. Then he will do the same with barley. He'll take the barley and he'll take the mash and he'll ferment it and distill it and age it. And he will do the same with wheat, or well, he used corn, barley, and rye. And he'll take the rye and he'll ferment that and age that in oak after distilling it. And then after the whiskeys have been aged, after they've all been aged, then they will be blended together. And that's what John Hall does. A lot of other places will take barley and rye and corn and wheat and they put it all in one great big mash. They'll take the mash and ferment it, and then they'll distill the whole thing and put it in casks, and that'll be it. But what he does is he takes the time to do them all separately and then put them together at the end, which makes for a very unique character of whiskey. There is no cork, there's just a plastic cap. There's the plastic cap. But for the price, this stuff is unbeatable. Like I said, I've been enjoying it for quite some time, but I never made a review of it. So I figure now that I got a fresh bottle, I better do so. Got my half a liter of water to go with this somewhat generous dram of whiskey. Right away, we coat the glass. It has that beautiful aroma. There's some rye, definitely some rye. There's some corn that gives it a little bit of sweetness. Some of the whiskey was aged in sherry casks, so there's a little bit of that dry fruit note to it. A little bit of a fresh fruit note. This is very well crafted. Probably the finest Canadian whiskey that you'll ever come across. And different expressions thereof. This is the basic expression. But there's another one that's called Copper Pot, which I've also tried, which has a little more rye than this one does. And there are a few other expressions that I have yet to try. But if they are anywhere near what this base blend promises, I will savor them someday. And the taste. Pure heaven. There's caramel. There's vanilla. There's that fruitiness. That fruitiness from the sherry cask adds to the complexity. And it is probably the most complex Canadian whiskey that there is. It's not straight up rye. There's corn in there. There's wheat in there. There's barley in there. There's the separate aging of the grains. This is just, for the price, there's nothing better. What was this? $27 a bottle? $28 a bottle? I think, or even $24 plus tax, whatever it was. Definitely worth the price. It would be worth the price, even at a higher price. Unmistakable quality. John Hall, my glass is raised to you. Thank you for producing a very fine spirit and for putting Canada back on the map for making quality spirits. To your health.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.